prepared for something new. Everyone is different. So are you. Stay straight. No masquerades. Do things that you'll remember. You can push too far, but stay fair. Stay on track. Give it your all. Get to the bottom of things. Decide what's right. Don't believe in what the others do. Find it out for yourself. Be close to it all. Bring your heart along. Follow your goals. Reach for the stars. Turn the weekend into the loudest party of your life. Are you prepared?
Hello everyone and welcome from the Norisring. It's the German Monaco, and indeed this is a fantastic race weekend. It's the fourth race weekend of the DTM season 2017, and we had a thrilling race yesterday, and we're sure that today is going to be just as exciting. And I'm here with Marco Wittmann, the reigning champion, and yesterday you ended on fourth place. Today, however, you're starting on P12, but nonetheless this is your home race. You've got your family here, you've got a lot of fans. So do you think that's going to give you an extra boost for the race?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's always great to come to Norisring. I mean, such a special track, but also all the fans are supporting me, standing behind me. I have my own fan club here, so it's just great. It's always nice to come here, and I hope it gives me a boost for the race. P12 is a starting place, so yeah, there should be some positions which we should gain.
All right, well, best of luck, Marco. Thank you very much. And before we get into racing, let's have a look back at yesterday's race.
Well, as you can see, the conditions that greeted the DTM drivers on this Norisring track were wet. And Bruno Spengler was the man that was able to take advantage of those challenging conditions even before they'd got into turn number one. The heavens really opening just ahead of the start of the race. And as you can see, there were clatters there for Mike Rockefeller and Timo Glock. And unfortunately, that would spell the end for some of the drivers. And we can see plenty of overtakes that actually did go on. Matthias Ekström and Maxime Martin swapping places for P2. And then, as the track actually very quickly dried out, those that would be prepared to take the gamble and go from the wet weather tyres onto the slicks. And then you can see in the space of just almost a minute, the track had really dried out and again became the place to be, providing you had the right rubber shod on the wheels. In came Mike Rockefeller. Eduardo Mortara and Mike Rockefeller having a little coming together here, which spelled a turnaround for Eduardo Mortara. Matthias Ekström fighting back against Maxime Martin towards the final stages of the DTM race, where this man, Bruno Spengler, would not put 1 foot wrong. The BMW driver not suffering the pressure that Maxime Martin did, as a brilliant overtake from Matthias Ekström. One thought, but the undercut there and the switchback. And Hans-Jürgen Abt certainly appreciating the effort of his driver, Matthias Ekström. So Bruno Spengler then in the number 7 car, who had P1 on the side of the car, would head home and take the checkered flag and celebrate a victory for BMW. And here's Verena right now.
And I'm here with Bruno Spengler. Bruno, yesterday you celebrated your first victory since 4 years, and today you'll be starting in P4. Do you think you will repeat history as yesterday, because you were also starting from P4? And do you think you will be able to snatch the title, Mr. Norisring, away from Jamie Green, because you both won 4 times? Do you think you're going to change that today?
I don't know. Someone told me yesterday that I already got it, the title, because I was the last one to get the last win here from us too. But at the end, you know, it was a great day. Tomorrow, yesterday for sure, starting from P3, winning the race was amazing. In all conditions, we were strong. Today is a different day, and the opponents seem to be very, very strong. Generally, in qualifying free practice, they were really good. The Mercedes, the Audis. I think the field is a bit more mixed today. And I think also that our opponents are much stronger than yesterday, especially in the race. They will be good, and the weather will play a role again, because we don't know when it's going to rain, on strategy, and it's a bit of a lottery really today, the strategy, when to come in, about the safety car, and you know, so the safety car chance is quite high here, so you never know. So you have to have a bit of luck, I guess, today as well, but we see, you know, I give my best and try to score a maximum points, and then we see after the race where we end up.
But do you want rain, or would you rather have it dry? I mean, you do like the rain.
I love the rain, no problem. You know, if the rain comes, no problem. It just has to come at the right moment.
All right then. Best of luck, Bruno. Thank you very much, and back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Verena. So Bruno Spengler then, he likes the rain, and here comes the starting grid for race 2 of this weekend. It's Tom Blomqvist with a 47.252 pole position. Alongside him is Robert Wickens.
Second row we have Nico Muller, P3, P4. Bruno Spengler, same as yesterday. Let's see if he can repeat a good start like he did.
Well, time will tell. Matthias Ekström goes from P5, and Lucas Auer is alongside him for P6.
Next row we have Maxime Martin and Mike Rockenfeller.
So that the fourth row of the grid. As we take a look at the fifth, now we find Timo Glock and René Rast going from P9 and P10.
Sixth row of the grid we have Gary Perfect and last year champion Marco Wittmann.
Of course, celebrating 2 championship successes, Marco Wittmann. There is Paul de Resta, P13. Jamie Green, a lowly P14. Hasn't really got it together this weekend.
Augusto Farfur next to Eduardo Mortara.
Yes, they go on the next row of the grid before we find Loic Duval and Maro Engel right at the back of the grid. Pole position, Tom Blomqvist. Verena is just about to try and interrupt him now.
Yes, he's just getting into the car, but yesterday, hello Tom, today starting in pole position. Yesterday we saw the experienced guys at the top, so is today the day that the youngsters are attacking, and hopefully that the youngsters are fighting back?
Wow, I hope so. No, I mean, obviously I can't be in a better position to make the most of this race, so the goal is obviously to win, simple as that, but it's a long race ahead of us. You know, strategy, the weather, who knows what's going to happen. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, also credit to the team who've done a great job with the car this weekend. Also, congrats to Bruno and Max yesterday. So, you know, IBM have done a really good job. So we've got both poles here. So let's try and make the most of the race today.
Best of luck, Tom. Thank you very much, and now back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Verena. Tom Blomqvist then getting pole position, Alex, by 4 1/1000ths of a second. How close is that?
Yeah, it's amazingly close. I mean, it's usually what we are used to see here at Norisring. Always times really close, short racetrack. So that allows the driver to, but it's really close. We see 1.5 tenths between P1 and P10. That tells you how close is the grid and how close are these drivers. I mean, we have a really good portrait of drivers, the best you can have.
47.252, the fastest time, 47.890, the slowest time from qualifying earlier on today. As Tom Blomqvist was saying, and also Bruno Spengler, as we've heard from Verena, weather could play a part in this race. You can see the clouds above. Everyone that I've spoken to on the way to the commentary booth has said weather is going to play a part. It's almost like rain is expected, but of course no one knows when, Alex. And that's awful when you're trying to set everything up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You need to have a little bit of luck. It's really hard to have an eye. It can start raining at this exactly moment, or maybe it stays like this a little bit forecast gray, but then it doesn't rain in the full race. So you need to, like Bruno Spengler was saying, you have to be lucky that the rains come at the right moment in case it's coming.
So the order then is Blomqvist, Wickens, Muller, Spengler, Ekström, and Lucas Auer. Then the first 3 rows, and there is the Lucas Auer car. Of course, Lucas Auer, who led the championship for a little while. The championship now being led by Matthias Ekström. So Lucas Auer taking on some fluid ahead of the start of the race here at the Norisring. 55 minutes plus 1 lap. It's the second race of the DTM weekend. A very special weekend here at the Norisring Street Circuit. It is an incredible place, Norisring. And this particular circuit, just 2.3 kilometers long, is made up of public roads that are in use for most of the year. But just for one weekend, it turns its attention to a wonderful weekend of motorsport and becomes the challenge that this 2.3 kilometer circuit is. The challenge that in qualifying Tom Blomqvist got the best out of, because he qualified 47.252, his lap time, which gave him pole position by 4 1/1000ths over Robert Wickens. A big crowd here, as always, to enjoy the race action. You can see the grandstands are absolutely packed as we look at Matthias Ekström, who is going from P5 on the grid, and by 5 points is at the top of the championship table going in to this race. And Dieter Gass is the head of Audi Motorsport, and he is with Verena right now.
He certainly is. The overall performance of Audi is really good. We've got the leader of the championship, Eki, and then followed by Rast and then Green. However, today these guys are a bit further down the grid. So are you hoping for Nico Miller to ace the race?
Yes, I mean, for sure he is the one who is in the best place on the grid, P3. He has shown last year that he can win, and I'm sure he's thinking about that as well, right at the start now. And we'll see. Maybe he can have a repeat of last year's race, but we'll try to get the others forward as well. I think Matthias in P5, that's not a bad position to start from either. So I'm looking forward to an interesting and really fighting race.
And speaking of interesting race, yesterday we saw a bit of a wet race in the beginning especially. What do you think about the weather?
Yeah, it's difficult to predict at this stage. You have showers everywhere around, so it could hit us or not.
As unpredictable as a DTM can be. So thank you very much. Best of luck, Dieter Gass, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. He's not much of a meteorologist, is he? He says, showers all around. They may hit, they may not. Well, Robert Wickens, we saw just a few moments ago, is P2. He's alongside Tom Blomqvist, but it's an offset grid here, isn't it, Alex, where the inside line, which is the one you need, actually belongs to the P2 driver. But of course, Tom Blomqvist will be further ahead on the grid than Robert Wickens, but he's very much on the outside. And that turn number 1 is a real pinch point as we look at the Drivers' Championship, and Matthias Ekström leading on 77 points over René Rast on 72. So yes, turn 1, a real pinch point. And Jamie Green is P3 in the championship. Mercedes-Benz, Uli Fritz is with Verena right now.
Yes, he is. Now, after a tough day yesterday, it's looking better today. You've got Lucas starting in P6, but he's got support from Robert Wickens in P2. So do you think today is going to be a good day?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, we saw yesterday after the first corner of the first lap, everything can look completely vice versa. So, yeah, I think it's important to get a good start, to keep out of all the trouble in the first corner and the first laps, and then find a good rhythm, a good strategy, and then, yeah, we'll see where we are.
And are you hoping for rain or for it to stay dry?
Difficult to say, I have to say. We have to take it like it is, huh?
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a gamble. So we'll see what happens, that's for sure. Uli Fritz, fantastic. Thank you very much. Have a good race, and back to you, and let's get racing.
Thank you, Verena. He's no more committed to the weather prediction than Dieter Gass was. So, as I was saying, turn 1 is a real pinch point here, Alex, because you've got 18 cars all funneling into that tight Grundig turn.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The inside line is for P2. There is a rule, as far as I know, maybe I'm mistaking the meters, but I think there is more than 400 meters between the start-finish line or the start line and the first corner. Then the pole position got on the outside line. That's why I think here we have the second position on the inside line. But like you said, it's not a really lot of space. So if you have not a decent start starting from P1, you are giving a lot of chance to the guy sitting, or the driver sitting in position number 2 to get the inside line for corner 1.
Absolutely. That P1 car has only got to bog down just a little bit, hasn't it? And just been not quite as good away from the start. And there is the starter's rostrum, as you can see. So there is the 31 car of Tom Blomqvist then. Pole position for the number 31 car. He took a P6 in the race yesterday. And there, the formation lap not far away now. And we get this race 2 here at the Norisring about to be underway. Blomqvist, Wickens, Muller, Spengler, Ekström. There is Lucas Auer going from P6 on the grid, just behind Matthias Ekström, who is P5. Cars light up then and roar up then. Spin those back wheels, trying to get some temperature into the tyres. Mandatory pit stop, of course, to come. And who knows what the weather will throw at this 55-minute plus 1 lap race. Bruno Spengler, we just saw there, who was the winner yesterday. Last BMW winner in DTM at the Norisring, Steve Soper, the UK driver. So Steve, Bruno has now taken that away from you. So some great shots now as the cars make the way around this very tight 2.3-kilometre circuit ahead of the start of race 1. Phenomenal venue for the DTM race weekend here at the Norisring. All the cars weaving from side to side to try and generate some heat into those tyres. So could this be a complete reversal of the race that we saw yesterday, where of course everyone started on wet weather tyres and finished on slicks? Will it be completely reverse today, where everyone starts on slicks and then a shower comes down and everyone finishes the race on wets? Only time will tell. So the lap record now is 48.345 with Tom Blomqvist. It's the race lap record. And there, Tom Blomqvist lighting up the back end of the car. Air temperature 21.3 degrees. It's a 23.4 degrees for the track temperature. And as we saw yesterday, Blomqvist being guided into his pit box.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And Matthias Ekström, stop. He's in his box. Into the garage as we go as the tension builds for Audi, for BMW, and of course for Mercedes-Benz ahead of the start of this race too. We await the green flag from the marshal at the rear once Maro Engel is into his grid box. Once we get that, the start sequence will be underway and this race will be on. So the engine note rises, the lights at the top right-hand screen. Off they go. And it's a good start from Robert Wickens. It was not a good start from Tom Blomqvist. Keep your eyes on Nico Müller, also on Maxime Martin and Matthias Ekström. Robert Wickens has got a flyer, and look at Bruno Spengler as well. So Nico Müller on the outside is going to be hung out to dry now. This is where there was contact yesterday as all those cars trying to funnel through on the exit of the turn. But today, I don't think one panel was rubbed. So Bruno Spengler, he's chasing down Nico Müller. He's going for the P3 position. But Lucas Auer it is that is up to P3. On board with Lucas Auer, the Mercedes-Benz driver then. He was very, very quick during parts of qualifying. Nico Müller on the outside of Maxime Martin. Martin going through. And Tom Blomqvist then having a mare of a start. The cars all get so very close to the concrete. And then a number of them come in straight away.
Copy, pit in.
Choosing to do a pit stop very, very early on. Used to be, of course, in DTM that you had a pit stop window. That is not the case anymore. Bruno Spengler is virtually right on the back now of Robert Wickens.
So we have Auer, Blomqvist, Farfus, Green and Maro Engel on the pit lane now. Let's see if this strategy pays off. If it starts raining, it will not definitely be the strategy today. Oh, some troubles for Lucas Auer. Oh, good away with it.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Blomqvist was out just ahead of Jamie Green. That was almost an unsafe release. So we've seen in Lucas Auer, Tom Blomqvist, Jamie Green, Augusto Farfus, and Maro Engel, and Jamie Green getting ahead of Augusto Farfus.
Now we have Timo Glock and Marco Wittmann also pitting in.
So from P7 and P8 then, they come in to pit. Robert Wickens, who is leading the race, stays out there. So too does Bruno Spengler. Then it's Maxime Martin, Nico Müller, Mike Rockenfeller. Behind Mike Rockenfeller is Matthias Ekström. In comes Timo Glock then. Behind him is the champion Marco Wittmann. Only two personnel on each side of the car now.
So faster for Marco Wittmann to get position on Timo Glock on the pit lane.
Wittmann gets ahead of Glock then, doesn't he? Both, of course, BMW drivers. Relative to Lucas Auer, here comes Lucas Auer. Now, the tyres that go onto these cars, also new for DTM in 2017, is that those tyres are cold.
Exactly, those tyres are now cold, so they need to warm up. So we will see there the Marco Wittmann and Timo Glock struggling a little bit now to get the temperature on the tyres. So Tom Blomqvist is doing not some pressure into Timo Glock, locking the tyres. Of course, they are cold.
Through the Scholler S they go then. Jamie Green tucked in behind Tom Blomqvist at the moment in the number 53 car. Green, of course, one of those that's also been in. In fact, those that have been in, Glock, Wittmann, Auer, Blomqvist, Green, Farfus, and Mero-Engel as well. So choosing to adopt a very early pit stop strategy. Two BMW drivers side by side there, Tom Blomqvist and Timo Glock. And here comes Jamie Green trying to split those BMWs. We're on board with Timo Glock. Jamie Green dives to the inside. He's over the curbs. Bumped that car, but he manages to scrub the speed off. 2 in 1. What a move from Jamie Green.
Yeah, he took advantage from the lap before from DRS. And of course, Marco Wittmann didn't have the advantage because Timo Glock went out of the pit lane. So he could have taken the advantage of the DRS and passed both cars at the same time. And we saw the maneuver. It was totally on the inside where it was a bump. He clipped this bump and the front of the car lit from the ground. And we see Matthias Ekström on the pit stop, quite fast. Cold tires, a lot of wheel spin.
7.6 seconds then for the AB team looking after that car. On board now with Lucas Auer.
Free road for Lucas Auer. So Matthias now coming out. Lucas Auer, yeah, coming out. Matthias on cold tires, so definitely Lucas Auer rhythm will be faster. Oh, he ran a little bit wide.
You can see Lucas Auer getting sideways in the car then. The car was drifting, wasn't it? Around that Grundig turn. So whilst all this is going on and we're following the progress being made, in comes Bruno Spengler. Now, bear in mind, Bruno Spengler was chasing down Robert Wickens.
What a footage with the flame coming out of the car.
That's great, isn't it? And Bruno Spengler then looking to be very quick, just as he was yesterday. Had a great start. Here comes Spengler then out of the pit lane.
What a start of a race, Dave.
Fantastic. Been drama and action from the very off, hasn't it? So here comes Bruno Spengler. Now, do bear in mind that he is going to be on cold tyres relative to those on that Mercedes-Benz that he's now going to be chasing down. Then a whole pack of cars following Matthias Ekström, Marco Wittmann, Jamie Green again on the inside. He is really making this work, isn't he?
Yeah, inside line of Gary Paffett. Glock using also the chance to go inside of Gary Paffett. Will he made it? Garit's tried to hold to the inside of the entry of the Schiller S. Yeah, he's on the good line. Will he, Timo, hold on the outside? Now into the second one as the good line.
Gary now trying to come back, but Timo Glock has got his nose in front now. Surely he's got that job done. Augusto Farfus battling there with Tom Blomqvist just behind these two. Here's Lucas Auer then, who for the moment has not been able to get past Bruno Spengler. So, start-finish straight now. And here we pick the cars up once again. Lucas Auer to the outside, which is disadvantageous unless Bruno Spengler runs wide. Lucas Auer tries to get underneath the BMW. And he does look to have superior traction coming out. So now he needs to remain absolutely committed to this and keep his foot in.
And we see Blomqvist fighting also with Augusto Farfus. They've been parallel for the last 3 corners.
And Lucas Auer did get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, Bruno Spengler came out on cold tires, so of course his traction out of the racetrack is not as great as Lucas had, and we see really good under 7 seconds pit stop for Maxime Martin.
Yeah,
I think it's the fastest we've seen till now.
Yes, I think you might be right. So Martin on his way out, Nico Müller on his way out. There is Lucas Auer. There is Bruno Spengler coming down the start-finish straight now. The race nominally still being led, of course, by Robert Wickens. Mike Rockenfeller staying out. Wickens is in the pit lane now. So Rocky goes to the top of the table, as you can see on the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Seeing also that Timo Glock is coming in.
Coming in again. Another set of tires, second time in the pit for Timo Glock.
And in Robert Wickens. This needs to be a good stop for Rob Wickens. Only 2 people on each side of the car now. And it's not a blisterer, is it? 8.4 seconds for Robert Wickens.
I think Timo Glock had some issue on one of the tires because they had to declare a fast pit stop where they changed only, I think, one side of the car. Now we see Nico Müller going into the inside of Lucas Auer. Now that's better exit for Lucas. Yeah, he tried to manage it. That's the switchback.
See, Nico had got ahead of Lucas, but Lucas gets it back again. So positions changing all the time. So there is just one mandatory pit stop for the DTM drivers now, and the window is open, isn't it? You can choose when to pit and when not to pit. Maxime Martin on Robert Wickens.
Oh, going on around the outside. He's going to Lucas Auer take profit of it for sure. better traction as well.
So Lucas Au then had the inside line.
Let's see now, has DRS. Lucas has DRS open onto weekends. He will make it, yeah, get the inside line, down onto the brakes. And Maxime Martin does it as well.
So Robert Wickens losing out on 2 places there. Nico Muller on Bruno Spengler.
What a great start of the race. We didn't even have time to see the replay of the start.
It's non-stop, hasn't it? I mean, absolutely non-stop. Bruno Spengler then into the Scholler S. The only ones that haven't stopped are Paul de Resta, Eduardo Mortara and Loic Duval, who are now effectively P1, 2 and 3. There's Mike Rockefeller, there is René Rast. So Rocky 6.7 seconds, René Rast 6.4 for their pit stops. On board with René Rast now, making his way out of the pit lane. And here comes Lucas Au screaming down the start-finish straight now in his Mercedes-Benz. On board with Lucas Au, heavy braking into the first turn as Mike Rockefeller runs wide. René Rast also a little bit because, of course, they are on cold tyres. Marco Wittmann there on Matthias Ekström. And they're 3 abreast now with Jamie Green on the inside as we... Oh, there's a little bit of a tag there for Mike Rockefeller.
Yeah, Lucas Auer trying to get past Rockefeller. He came with cold tires out of the pit lanes. Should not have much problem. Now Lucas braking exactly, has a better braking performance, braking on the line. And we have now under investigation the incident between Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström.
We saw that just a couple of moments ago. We're on board with René Rast now, who's tucked in behind Maxime Martin. Here comes Lucas Auer and Mike Rockefeller. Then it's Maxime Martin. Lucas Au really has got some pace here. Maxime Martin also around the outside of Mike Rockefeller. If he can scrub the speed off
Bruno
and turn
Spengler
in.
goes inside of Robert Wickens and make the... Yeah, push the beat a little bit. I will squeeze a little bit Robert Wickens and get the line. Get the inside line and get past him.
Extraordinary racing that we're seeing. Extraordinary overtakes. Nico Muller and Marco Wittmann were side by side. There is Jamie Green. Matthias Ekström at the head of that little queue of cars. Let's go on board with Jamie Green as he comes off the tarmac onto the concrete paved area. Oh, this is fascinating stuff.
I don't know where to look.
Nico Muller under pressure now from the current DTM champion, Marco
Augusto
Wittmann.
Farfus takes the chance and pass Gary Paffett in the inside on the break-in.
Little bit of panel rubbing between the two of them, wasn't it? Augusto Farfus and Gary Paffett side by side now. And here comes Bruno Spengler and René Rast.
Oh, lucky for Bruno Spengler with it. Rocket Feather. Oh, squeezing on the outside. And René Rast will maybe get 2 positions. Not yet.
Oh, stay on board with René Rast as they go in towards the Scholler S now.
Behind them, Gary Paffett gets again the position on Augusto Farfus when we go in the Scholler S.
You don't know which way to look, do you?
No, I don't know.
So much going on. On board with René Rast then. And Rast at the moment with the better of the Mercedes-Benz, chasing down the BMW, of course, of Bruno Spengler, who in turn is behind Mike Rockefeller. So DRS laps available, you can see in yellow on the left-hand side of your screen. Here is Mike Rockefeller and Bruno Spengler chasing down Mike Rockefeller, is trying to go to the inside. Mike Rockefeller makes sure that the Audi is as wide as possible. Bruno Spengler now dives to the inside. He's got to be really committed to this now. He's got better momentum out of the turn.
As we saw also Nico Muller running right in the braking for corner 1. Scholler S, Mike Rockefeller on the inside line. Bruno Spengler is still behind. René Rast had a better run. So also right behind, Spengler goes open on the DRS. Everyone with the DRS open except Mike Rockefeller, who is at the front.
So he's
He squeezed on the brake. Spengler, Wickens make it on the René Rast, up touch behind.
So we're on board with René Rast now.
He might be now getting attacked by Matthias Ekström.
So Ekström and Rast to side by side.
Both DRS open.
2 Audis together. Bruno Spengler now at the head of that little pack of cars.
And Wickens, no.
Augusto Farfus and Nico Muller.
So in the front stay like it was. No change. So now we have Spengler, Rockefeller, Wickens, René Rast.
There though.
Matthias Ekström.
Calm down. There's Lucas Auer. Of course, Paul de Resta, Eduardo Mortara and Loic Duval being shown as P1, 2 and 3. But bear in mind, those 3 drivers have not yet
pitted.
I've had a pit stop. Lucas Auer, you can see, is the first of the drivers that had been into the pits. So Mike Rockenfeller with Robert Wickens behind him now, and Paul di Resta now does come in, so we just await Eduardo Mortara and Loic Duval. And then normality will resume, one assumes.
And all this fight allowed the pack to get closer and closer together, so now everyone is pretty much on DRS zone.
All we need now is for the rain to start.
Oh my goodness, man. Still want to see a replay of the start, but we had no chance.
We've had no chance.
So we see Paul di Resta, 9.4, oh, pretty slow.
That was a slow one, wasn't it, for Paul di Resta? He makes his way back out now. Here comes Lucas Auer. Paul di Resta, of course, going to be on really, really cold tyres. Make sure you don't cross the yellow line, which delineates the pit lane exit. If you cross that, you get a penalty.
You think maybe someone, like, for example, Mortara or Loic Duval, staying out in the track waiting for some rain?
They're praying for rain, aren't they? Absolutely praying for rain.
Look how close is this pack. So we have Rockenfeller, Weekend, Rust, Ekström, Wittmann, Green, Paffett, Augusto, Farfus, Tom Blomqvist. Everyone so close together.
It's great. So here is Bruno Spengler, then victorious in the race yesterday. Had another blistering start today. He really has got the starts, what we would call sussed. Did a great job at the start. There's René Rast then in the Audi. See Paul di Resta continuing to weave to try and drive temperature into those tyres that have been replaced on his car. On board with Bruno Spengler now. And Jamie Green goes through.
No, I think he was defending. Paffett was already behind. But look, we have only 15 minutes of race, and Jamie Green has only 5 DRS left.
Yes.
That tells you how he was really on the DRS every time to get past the car. Farfus has only 7 DRS left.
Yes, and Tom Blomqvist has only got 8, and the same as Bruno Spengler. Of course, those with the most are the likes of Mortara and Duval, and interestingly, so too Lucas Auer. Keep that in mind. So, Paul di Resta then, who surely now his tyres will be up to temperature, won't they, Alex?
Yeah, it has done already 2 laps, so the tyres should be not maybe as heat up as Bruno's tyres, but yeah, Jamie Green defending again from Gary Paffett. So but we have here the fighting for the 5th position of the race at the moment. We still need to... Oh, Mortara is in the pit at the moment.
Loic Duval isn't, though, so Duval stays out. So Loic Duval is leading the race, effectively. Here's Paul di Resta then, and...
so this is theoretically a fight for P3 at the race at the moment, between Paul di Resta and Bruno Spengler.
So Loic Duval is indeed the only car that he is yet to pit, which means the race is between Lucas Auer, Maxime Martin.
And Maxime Martin is attacking Lucas Auer. Yeah, look at it.
Indeed he is. The Mercedes coming under threat from the BMW behind. Here comes Maxime Martin then. So Lucas Auer using everything he can to try and defend against Maxime Martin.
Mortara is struggling to heat up those tires, trying to push as much as he can to keep that podium position.
And they both, interestingly, have a similar number of DRS laps available to them, 16 and 15 respectively. Bruno Spengler on the back of Paul di Resta, then it's Mike Rockenfeller and Robert Wickens. So these two really have broken away, haven't they? Lucas Auer and Maxime Martin.
Maxime Martin, DRS open, trying the outside line on the braking. Lucas Auer stopping the car, locking a little bit on the rear.
He's going wide. Not wide enough. He's
look at it, Paffett pushing. It was, excuse me, on the back was Bruno Spengler pushing on Paul di Resta. Yeah, he got past Paul di Resta.
So Bruno Spengler has got ahead of the Mercedes of Paul di Resta. So with Loic Duval still to come in for his pit stop, effectively this is the race for the lead of the race, isn't it, between Lucas Auer and Maxime Martin. And they both have similar numbers of DRS left. In fact, Lucas Auer has got 2 more laps relative to Maxime Martin. Here comes the replay then of Bruno Spengler on Paul di Resta. Paul went to turn in, realised the hole that he wanted to turn into was full, of that car.
Same repetition. It's not a replay, it's the same.
No.
It's the same like before. Lucas defending on the inside and Maxime Martin attacking on the outside. So let's see the DRS. Yeah, we still have plenty of laps with DRS for these two drivers.
Well, in fairness, Lucas Auer has got 3 more laps available to him now with DRS as opposed to Maxime Martin, which is no surprise because, of course, Maxime Martin is attacking and Lucas Auer cannot use it, can he?
Exactly, he has no car in front of him.
You have to be within 1 second of the car that is ahead of you, which, of course, Lucas Auer doesn't have. So
again,
the longer Lucas Auer can keep Maxime Martin behind him, the more DRSs that Maxime Martin will use. And if Martin does eventually get past Lucas Auer will be able to fight back because he will have DRS available to him and Maxime Martin won't. Hope that explains that.
You see now in the back also Mortara fighting with Paul Di Resta. See Paul Di Resta maybe get a little bit better traction, sliding the car.
Oh! That is Rennie Rast sliding against that concrete wall. What an onboard shot that is!
Are you? Oh my God! What the floor?
Well,
Robert Wicken pushing Di Resta. We might see the replay of this.
Unbelievable.
Well, you can hear Robert Wicken saying this is unbelievable. Apologies if there's any bad language there, but Rennie Rast under investigation immediately. Let's see it. How did that happen? Rast on the inside of Wickens. Well,
yeah, it didn't left too much space to Wickens. You might see now the investigation. Rast was on the inside.
So dragged along the concrete there, the car of Rennie Rast and Robert Wickens.
So we have safety car now, which is gonna...
Well,
safety car is deployed, so everything will get packed again. So this is gonna get really, really, really interesting.
So safety car now is...
We're just missing the rain to get it at the maximum point.
Absolutely.
Still want to see the replay of the...
Remarkably, Rast's car, mind you, it only slid the front end along the concrete wall, didn't it? The safety car has been deployed.
Safety car is deployed. Check the tire pressures and how is the car.
Not in the best of shapes, I would have thought, but...
And try to catch the group.
So, Wickens and Timo Glock getting down safe and Lapid.
So, first time we've been able to show you the replay of the start. Talk us through this, Alex.
So we saw Tom Blomqvist. He got a really good jump out of the start, but I think he was too good and had some wheel spin that caused him to be so slow, let's say, on his launch out of the box. Then we saw really good start from Robert Wickens. Nico Muller trying the outside line, holding really well, and Lucas Auer really intelligently. He got his inside line, stopped the car, rotated.
Yes.
And stood in third position. We see now Bruno Spengler.
Which for me was the best start of the lot, Bruno Spengler. Look at this.
Good stop. So Rennie Rast now into the traffic jam. Some loft ups, of course. Always steer on power. Yeah, again, we see Marco Wittmann touch with Gary Puffett in the exit of the S Scholler. Scholler S.
So great that we can see all these sort of replays of what happened at the very start, because truthfully, we've hardly been able to take a breath since the start of the race. So safety car deployed.
Luc Duval still leading the race.
Yes, he is.
No pitted.
But he has got to do a pit stop. That's mandatory.
Yeah, unless it's raining. Now it's really hard for him because if he pits now, it's all the pack together. Yes. So all the advantage he has because everyone was pitting, it's gone.
Yes.
It's really gone.
So, as I said, Loic Duval has got to pit. On board with Lucas Auer.
The only thing can happen if it's come raining.
Yes.
It's rain coming, then he still might have the chance to go back into the race.
So effectively then, with the safety car out, that bunches everyone together.
Do you still have the alarm, René? What is the alarm now?
What a start of a race.
The temperature is 56. We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
So conversation between René Rast and his engineers. Loic Duval then in.
Are we allowed to pass safety car?
So lapped cars may now overtake.
The safety car so they can get unlapped. You see now Jamie Green on this overtake. We say he left. You see now the car jumping a lot.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he was so good on the inside line, wasn't he? And more replays this time with Bruno Spengler through the Scholler S's here, but on board with Lucas Au. That was a real battle between the two of them, wasn't it? Oh, it's been some fantastic battles. Maxime Martin and Lucas Au both getting past the Mercedes-Benz of Robert Wickens. And Nico Müller to the outside now. Touch there between Müller and Spengler. And that stayed like that for a while, didn't it? With them two absolutely side by side.
You say, was also love that between the two Red Bull cars, Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström. See now again, Wittmann, Green and Müller. Now we see the pass of Bruno Spengler. Yeah, when Bruno Spengler passed Robert Wickens, really nice overtake coming from the outside into the inside.
Yes.
Bruno Spengler saw that gap and it went definitely for it.
And here a heli shot then as
Matthias into Nico Müller. Nico losing 2 positions.
Marco Wittmann trying to do the same. On board Bruno Spengler then, behind the René Rast car. And then what he has an Audi roadblock ahead of him, doesn't he, in terms of Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, he was struggling to get there. We saw the car jumping and locking on the rears. Here now the replay from the helicopter. He got past.
In the end.
In the end. This is the lap after.
Nico Müller ran very, very wide there. And that's how it happened, the young man says. Hans-Jürgen Abt shakes his head. Head, of course, of the Abt team.
So we see now so René Rast, Robert Wickens and Timo Glock passing the safety car and
so
going
they will
now.
Catch the crocodile
exactly,
up,
they will
they?
now rejoin the rest here. Here they will rejoin at this exactly moment. The end of the pack, straight behind Maro Engel.
Right, safety car is coming in this lap. Loic Duval will be leading the race, but Loic Duval has to come in for a pit stop, which means that effectively the race leader will be Lucas Au, Maxime Martin, Bruno Spengler, Eduardo Mortara, then it'll be Paul de Rest and Mike Rockenfeller, Matthias Ekström, Marco Wittmann and Jamie Green, with Gary Paffett bringing up the 10th spot. Tell you what, Alex, alongside me, you can look at race 1 for DTM, but there's no way you could look at race 1 and think that gives you any indication whatsoever of how race 2 is going to pan out.
So everyone warming up their tires. Virtually our leader of the race is Lucas Auer. Oh,
now this
Loic Duval, it's slowing down too much.
Well, no, because of course these.
True.
It's the side-by-side restart from a safety car, which we absolutely love. Talk about driving entertainment value into the DTM as the cars go side by side. It will be the responsibility of Loic Duval and Lucas Auer to control the pace of this restart. Bruno Spengler, of course, will be hoping to take advantage. So too will Maxime Martin. Lucas Auer really needs to be on his mettle here. So Loic Duval just marginally ahead of Lucas Auer as they approach the timing line now.
We go green now.
So Loic Duval goes for it. Lucas Auer needs to decide whether to stay outside or tuck into the inside.
But Lucas Auer better on the brakes, but Loic Duval has the inside line. It's knocking, so it's going to be bad for Lucas Auer, and Maxime Martin gets the inside line.
So all of a sudden now, Martin and Loic Duval are battling, and Bruno Spengler was able to take advantage of that as well. Now
some small tap between Bruno Spengler and Loic Duval, which allows Maxime Martin to open a decent gap.
And that also allows Lucas Auer back into this battle.
Mortara defending from Paul Di Resta, Loic Duval locking. Wittmann on the inside line of Mortara, Mortara on the inside line of Paul Di Resta. Mortara touching a little bit the wall on the outside.
So here comes Lucas Au then.
Oh, no!
Bruno Spengler with a puncture then. You heard it on team radio. That means Lucas Au is going to come through. So too Marco Wittmann. Here comes Matthias Ekström. So now Lucas Au can chase down Maxime Martin. Bruno Spengler with a puncture then.
Locked in the tire, of course. What an unfortunate start for Bruno Spengler. Was doing such an amazing job.
Oh, and Nico Müller very nearly into the back of Bruno Spengler, who of course is slow. Marco Wittmann fancying his chances against the Mercedes-Benz of Lucas Au that's ahead of him. They both rub so close to the concrete, but this is our race leader, Maxime Martin, then. But 5 more DRS laps available to Lucas Au. Jamie Green and Gary Paffett absolutely side by side. Once again, we're on board with Jamie Green, who's been preferring the inside line.
Oh, no!
That is a huge impact.
That's a really nasty impact.
We will send you out again. We will send you out again.
We have another safety car for sure. That's
absolutely. That was a huge impact.
Hope he's coming out of the car.
Are you okay, Gary? Mike, are you okay?
In comes Bruno Spengler.
So we heard small "I'm okay" from Gary Paffett, so we hope he's okay.
Are you okay, Gary?
So how did this happen?
Are you okay?
It hurts, but I think I'm okay.
It hurts, but I think I'm okay.
I think I'm okay.
Well, and Mike Rockefeller was just an innocent bystander there, but in fairness, Gary could do absolutely nothing, could he? And once again, on the team radio, Gary Paffett
1, 2, 3, Mike.
fired so hard into those Armco barriers.
Just hope Mike it's okay. It's not really answering the radio. So we heard Gary Paffett, it's okay. Let's see.
So everyone looks on. That was a horror, wasn't it?
That was a
Mike,
horrible
follow around,
crash.
Mike.
Mike is sitting out of the car. I think he's okay. Looks he's okay. He jumped out of the car.
Uli Fritz and Dieter Gas.
We have red flag. Red flag.
Uli Fritz and Dieter Gas, respectively. Of course, the boss of those manufacturers, Mercedes-Benz and Audi. Nobody ever wants to see that. My goodness me. Now, we saw a replay of the incident, and Gary was battling with Jamie Green. But in fairness, it just looked like the back end of the car let go.
Yeah.
You know, before we make any comment, we want to know that the drivers are okay, and then we'll take another look at the replays, I am sure. But let's just make sure that the drivers are all absolutely fine before we make any comment whatsoever. So race has been red flagged. We heard on the team radio, we can see Mike Rockefeller is out of the car.
Stretching himself.
Gary Paffett, we also heard on the team radio, who said it hurts.
But he seems it's okay. So Mr. Mercer, disappointed of course. Nothing Mike Rockefeller could do, was a passenger of the situation, let's say.
Yes, absolutely.
So we see now...
Now, you just look here. Now, I think the back end of Gary's car was moving.
Yeah, I think Jamie Green squeezed a little bit to the left, and this is a place where it's pretty bumpy and it's pretty dirty. And Gary just lost the rear of the car. I mean, they are approaching so fast. They are 230 kilometers an hour. And of course, it's nothing you can do. Oh, and he's lost.
Out of control, and of course
he missed Augusto Farfus by an inch. We see now the door even of Mike is out.
Yeah.
What a crash. Hope Gary Paffett it's okay. And we see now Jamie Green turning in.
Look at that impact. And of course, it's right into driver's side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, of course, the safety integrity of these cars is remarkable, which is why you've seen Mike Rockefeller out of the car straight away, and there he is. Going to be blooming sore, though, and the applause to see Mike Rockefeller out of the car that you can almost hear from the thousands and thousands of fans that are here.
See now, Gary, it's also coming on its own feet. Great news. Best thing we can see, we can hear, of course. A little bit hurt.
Gary Paffett and Mike Rockefeller both out of the cars. Thank goodness for that. Uli Fritz looks on very, very concerned, of course. Medical team down there to look after both the drivers, and straight away they are being very well looked after. Mike Rockefeller sitting down now and will be attended to by everyone there. To be fair to Gary, absolutely nothing he could do.
No, not really. He was totally passenger of the situation, really unlucky. And like we saw, I think if we have another replay, just Jamie Green squeezed a little bit to the left, touched Gary. Gary lost a little bit the rear.
Do you think there was a touch there? I'm not convinced there was.
We need to check. I mean, it's under investigation. That's why I want to see another replay, maybe from a helicopter angle. That would be really nice. So of course the ambulance.
Well, the ambulance there with the sirens and lights going, but let me just reassure you once again that both Mike Rockenfeller and Gary Paffett, as you can see, out of their cars, and they're going to go off to the medical centre to be properly checked over. But both of them out of their cars, and that is so reassuring to see after such an impact. You can see that Gary Paffett's car is utterly destroyed. Dieter Gas is the Audi boss. Whatever must he be thinking at the moment? He's with Verena now.
I think all of our hearts just stopped for a second. That was a really huge impact when Paffett hit Rockenfeller. There was nothing, I guess, he could do. We just saw Rocky getting out of the car. Can you tell us anything about how he's feeling? I mean, obviously he can't walk.
Yeah, I mean, he disconnected the radio straight away to get out of the car, so we didn't hear him say anything. All I've seen is what I've seen on the TV screens, that he was limping. I think probably on the left foot something. We need to see what the hospital is going to say.
It's a huge impact, we could see that, but I guess at this point it's also got to be said how safe the DTM really is, right?
Yeah, I mean, luckily safety is priority one for everything. We have a very good concept there with the monocoques that everybody is using. And I think in an accident like that, you're really happy that the priority is put in the right way.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dieter Gas. Back to you, and I'm going to try to grab somebody from Mercedes-Benz.
Well done, Verena, and thank you very much for getting Dieter Gas. But to reinforce what Verena was saying there, thankfully, both Mike and Gary out of the cars. And, well, we've just seen another replay. And you know, perhaps there was a touch between Jamie Green and Gary Paffett.
I think Jamie squeezed a little bit to the left, and then the situation where Gary Paffett is, which is the dirt tricky, and it's really tricky as well because so bumpy. We saw already cars in that part of the racetrack lifting up the front of the car.
Yes.
So maybe it got a little bit unsettled, and then he lost the car. And the problem is you are 230, 235 kilometers an hour, and it goes so fast. There is nothing you can do.
Mike and Gary then being attended to by, of course, the medical professionals that are here on site, as you would expect. And the rest of the drivers out of their cars then on the starting grid. The incident between car 53 and car number 2, which is Jamie Green and Gary Paffett, will be reported to the stewards of the meeting. Uli Fritz is the boss of Mercedes-Benz. Very well done, Verena. She's got hold of him straight away.
Uli Fritz, that was a very scary moment we just had there. First question, of course, how is Gary Paffett doing? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, he came on the radio directly and said he feels good. He just has some pain on the arm, I think. So we'll find out and take him to hospital, I think, to find out what is wrong with him. But yeah, that was a hard impact, I have to say.
Absolutely. The first thing we heard over the radio, I think, was that he said it hurts. So we'll see how he's doing then. But let's talk about the safety in the DTM, because it was a very hard impact, as you said. But luckily, the DTM is a very, very safe thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cars are at the highest standard you can imagine. And yeah, but motorsport is still dangerous, and you never know. You know, you have to have this respect. And today proved us that the safety standards in DTM is quite high. But yeah, you cannot take that for granted.
Definitely not. Thank you very much, Uli Fritz. Back to you.
Thank you very much for getting hold of both Uli Fritz and Dieter Gas from Mercedes-Benz and Audi, and reinforcing what Verena has said. The integrity of these cars is extraordinary when you consider, Alex, you know, the impact with which, well, you can see the Gary Paffett car there now.
It's totally front part of the car is completely destroyed, and the rear as well. It's nothing left on the rear. Everything is totally broken. But you see this monocoque, this carbon fiber shell the drivers have. It's totally in one place, in one piece. So this is the important thing. This is that has to stay totally fixed, and nothing should break down. Of course, the car has some scratches. Of course, the car is breaking down in the front and the rear. But this shell made out of carbon is the main important thing we have. And like Uli Fritz was saying, the cars that are the higher standard,
highest possible standard
of safety. And there we see such a hard impact, and the driver can walk out of his own feet.
Yes.
Same the impact that Mike Rockenfeller received on the side. was also really hard, and the only thing he lost was the door.
Yes.
Which is only an extra part of the car. We've seen how when the drivers are going into the pit lane, how the mechanics are taking out the door, so the door is only, let's say, a piece of carbon,
yes,
which is covering the driver, but the integrity, the shell that the driver has on the left side, it stands on its own, and this is the most important thing.
Well, once again, of course, Mike Rockenfeller was completely, he wasn't expecting that at all. Let's see it again. So that was Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström. And Jamie Green up the inside, and Matthias Ekström with Marco Wittmann there, and Matthias Ekström is with Verena now, who can perhaps talk us through that.
Yes, here with Eki. Eki, can you just talk us through? We saw you arguing with Marco Wittmann. What was that all about?
No, I was just racing. I think when adrenaline is high, everybody races for position, but you have a history of super clean, but I was a bit surprised of the move he made, and he thought I was aggressive back, so that's give and take.
Okay. And the situation with Mike Rockenfeller, when you see something like that, or you hear it on the radio, how does that feel for you as a racer?
I don't know what happened, so.
Okay, there was a huge impact. Perfect hit Rockenfeller, which is the reason we've got why we're here. So just a question being, the DTM is obviously really safe, so is that something that in your head is always good, knowing that the DTM is very safe, even there is a big impact?
Yeah, for sure. I really respect the safety that it's high, but I don't know what happened, so I can't comment. I haven't seen anything.
All right. Thank you very much, Eki, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. So Eki was saying there with that tussle he was having with Marco Wittmann, wasn't so much an argument, it was just a discussion they were having between the two of them as to who should have been where and what. You can see the Armco is going to have to be replaced now. And this won't be necessarily the work of a moment, it has to be said, because the damaged Armco has got to be removed. The new Armco has got to be reaffixed. There's Lucas Auer down there having a conversation with Matthias Ekström. Just see Maxime Martin in the back of the picture as well. So there is Matthias Ekström, who we've just heard from. There is Hans-Jürgen Abt, who of course is the team boss. And well done to Verena for getting hold of so many people as she can down there on the start-finish. In fact, in the grid boxes now, because of course the race having been red flagged, the drivers are out of the cars. And of course the best news of all is that Mike Rockenfeller and Gary Paffett, whilst have been taken off to the medical centre, appeared to be relatively unscathed from what was a huge impact in the race 2 of the DTM here. And ironically, the race has stayed dry. You know, it's not like there was a sudden change in the weather conditions or anything like that. It was just the back end of Gary's car on the wrong part of the circuit. And as you've explained, Alex, a dirty part of the circuit, which affords much, much less grip.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're talking about, and it's not a situation of the grip condition was the same. Thing is, the race was already crazy, and it got crazy at the maximum of craziness. But as soon as you said, it's hard racing. So we have Verena now down with Jamie Green. Let's see what he can say for us.
Yeah, Jamie's just still in discussion, so I'm just gonna slightly interrupt. Might take a second, but obviously I want to know from Jamie. Well, he's still talking. Just 1 second. Jamie, just hi. Just briefly, you were having a duel with Paffett, and then the incident happened, and then he flew into Rocky. But would it have been just a fraction of a second later, he could have also hit you? How did that all happen? Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gary tried to overtake me at the last corner on the end of that lap. And so we were sort of side by side coming onto the straight, and I had the DRS open, so I kind of pulled slightly ahead. So when we got to turn 1, I tried to defend and stay in front. And I thought that was fine. I thought it was done. And then just as I'm about to turn in, he arrived backwards, obviously out of control. And Rocky was turning in, so he was just Gary was a passenger at that point. So I need to see the TV coverage to really understand why he why he lost control.
But in that second, did you actually see him flying by you, or did you register it?
Yeah, just as I was turning in, he arrived. So like you said, I narrowly missed it, and it was just unlucky for Mike that he was there. But we've seen that before on this circuit, that turn one, that can happen. You know, such a long straight and a tight corner. It's unfortunately, that's how it is on a track like this.
But luckily, the DTM is a safe thing, and hopefully the two guys are going to be okay soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so.
Thank you very much, Jamie. And as we look at the car, here we can, perhaps you could just look at the car. Here we can see the heavy impact. I mean, the mechanics are doing everything now to get it fixed, obviously. But yeah, that was, I guess, very lucky in a very unlucky situation. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Verena. Catching up there with Jamie Green. And, of course, the incident between the 53 car of Jamie Green and that car of Gary Paffett reported to the stewards of the meeting whether there was contact there. We've looked at so many replays. The crew here at the Norisring doing the best job they can in terms of trying to get these barriers repaired and replaced, and of course the catch fencing as well. Such a huge impact that Gary Paffett went into that. There is Jamie Green then on the grid. And very sorry to see that in DTM, but just to reinforce just how strong these cars are, the integrity that they have, to see both drivers out of the car relatively unharmed is a fantastic thing to see. There is the Robert Wickens car, and all the cars, of course, inevitably, after what had been such an extraordinary race up until that stoppage, Alex, all the cars are wearing battle scars now, aren't they? Because there has been so much
it's
action.
been a pretty wild race. We have now Marco Wittmann with Verena. That is what he has to say to us.
Yeah, Marco, a pretty exciting race, that's for sure. You coming from 12 and now in P3, so I guess when the race does start, you've got good chances after all today.
Yeah, what a race so far. I mean, I think we did the right strategy to stop in lap 2. We gained a few positions there, I think 2 or 3. So we were running on P9. Quite a hard fight with Matthias and Nico Müller down to turn 1. So a car looks not super nice anymore. But I mean, with the Indy restart, I don't know, it was a mega lap for me. I went from P9 to P3, so I overtook 3 guys in turn 1 and another 3 in turn 4. I don't know, they were probably all a bit scared with braking, not to lock up the tires because they are maybe a bit cold from the restart, but my car was working spot on, and now I'm on P3, so what a race so far.
Absolutely, and of course I'm very curious, as a journalist, what was the discussion all about with Matthias Ekström?
I think I keep it with me and him. For sure we discussed the situation in turn 1 we had. For sure there are a lot of emotions and we didn't found a proper conclusion yet. So I think we have to finish the race and speak again later on.
All right, thank you very much, Marco. Best of luck for the rest of the race, and back to you.
Oh, Verena, well done with your journalistic tendencies there. Marco not giving too much away, other than him saying that we've not quite reached a conclusion to our conversations yet, so to be continued. Here we can see it again. You see, I think the back end of the car, of Gary's car, was moving.
You see the camera waving a lot. Yeah, I mean, of course, Corey was moving because he lost control. We need to see now. It's like you said, it's really hard. Maybe this aerial view. Yeah, but it's true. Need like the 10 seconds before, you know, when they're passing the start-finish line, then we can see. But it's a huge impact, huge impact. So happy.
So, Lucas Auer, a Mercedes driver, he's down with Verena right now.
Lucas, you're looking pretty relaxed considering the fact what happened. It was a very exciting race, and coming from P6, you fought your way all the way to the front to P2. I guess now you've got to get a really good and clean restart.
Yeah, let's see first which restart they will decide. And then, yes, as you said, clean restart and then a clean end.
And what is it like, I mean, a race like this being interrupted in the middle because of the heavy accident? What is it like for you? I mean, you were all focused and now you've got long pause and then you've got to be all under adrenaline again and get restarted.
Yeah, difficult, not easy, especially I think on the mentally side. So let's see how we all are doing.
All right, thank you very much, best of luck, and back to you.
Thank you, Verena. So Lucas Au then looking very chilled and relaxed, but as he says, you know, your adrenaline is pumping because you're in the race, and then it gets brought to a stop, and you start to relax again. You've got to get all fired up once the restart does happen. And as soon as we have any information of that, of course, we will bring that to you. There is the Bruno Spengler car. And Bruno Spengler down there. Maxime Martin is the leader of the race, and he's with Verena now.
The man of the day from P7 to P1. That's fantastic. So, I mean, now you're in the best position. How do you see it? I mean, now we're going to do a restart. That's going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, definitely. The restart will be crucial, but yeah, it has been a really tough first half of the race. It's hard. It's quite some fun, but yeah, it's still long, only half of the race, so still a long way to go. But we keep pushing and see where we can end.
Best of luck. Thank you very much. And back to you.
Thank you, Verena. So various shots then that we can see. This was Lucas Au, Bruno Spengler to the outside. And, well, Marco Wittmann on the inside there. And we're on board with Bruno Spengler now. Contact there with the number 77 car of Loic Duval. And parts of Bruno Spengler's car dragging because, of course, Bruno Spengler picked up a puncture. And there we can see Bruno Spengler. Whew. Says it all, really, that facial expression, doesn't it? And there two live pictures of Bruno down there on the grid, who, of course, finds himself in P15 now because to come in and have that punctured tyre replaced. Just interesting. I wonder whether Bruno Spengler is just looking at the big screen or whether he's looking at the sky to see whether the forecast rain is coming. So there is Lucas Au talking to the head of the ITR, Gerhard Berger. Of course, it's uncle talking to nephew.
Family meeting.
And the team here at the Norisring working hard. So we are being told that potentially another 12 minutes before the race will restart.
Yeah, so we're talking, Dave.
So Bruno Spengler, was we saw a few moments ago, was the man that got the puncture and came in, and now he finds himself right at the back of the pack, and he's with Verena.
Yeah, when I read your face, Bruno, you seem very devastated. It was going absolutely excellent for you all the way, you know, in the front, doing really, really well. And then after the restart, you got a puncture because of the incident with Duval. Now starting or doing the restart from P15. So do you have a good strategy? Are you waiting for rain, hoping for a miracle? How's it going? What's going on in your head?
I don't know. I think we need a miracle now. First of all, we have to see if the race starts again. I don't know. And then the second thing is, yeah, it's very disappointed because, I mean, Loic was not in the race. He didn't do his pit stop, and he was just all over the place and being at the wrong place and closing the door on me at turn 3, although I was on the inside. And unfortunately, after the contact, my tire blew. So I did one more lap and then had to come in. And that costed my race pretty much. But we see. If the race starts again, maybe there's chances for something. I will try my best.
And what is the situation at the moment? You said if the race even restarts. Do you have any info?
No, at the moment I have no info, but they are still repairing and it takes a long time and I don't know what's going to happen really.
All right, so I just heard in around 10 minutes it is going to start, so you're hoping for a good strategy then?
Yeah, well, the strategy is just to try and stay on track and overtake cars and come in the points. There's not much more to do, unfortunately, from there.
Thank you, Bruno. Best of luck. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Well, Bruno, clearly everything against him in terms of achieving the same result that he had yesterday. Maxime Martin there in conversation with Jens Marquardt, the head of BMW. There's Eduardo Mortara in conversation as well, and talking about what's happened in the race thus far. Well, it's a race where we've hardly been able to take a breath, truthfully. There has been so much going on. And Lucas Au also in conversation. Of course, our thoughts remain with Mike Rockenfeller and Gary Paffett, who we've seen taken off to the medical centre. Both drivers appearing to be absolutely fine. exception of being very, very sore, which is hardly surprising after that huge impact. Any information that we get, of course, we will bring that to you. There is Matthias Ekström, and there is Gerhard Berger in conversation with Augusto Farfus, the BMW driver. So Robert Wickens from P2 to 11 at the moment. He's with Verena now.
Yes, he certainly is. Robert, what a day today. You were starting in B2, it was looking really, really good, and then you had the attack from René Rast. Remember the picture, and now you're on P11. So, I mean, the race is not over yet. Hopefully in around 8 minutes it's going to restart. What are you going to do?
Hopefully manage to bring my car home. I mean, after the start and after the first couple laps, this is not how I expected my race to go, that's for sure. But I don't know. I don't know what happened during the pit sequence. I was driving well. I felt like everything was pretty much under control. I had the pit stop, and then suddenly I cycled through in like P8 or P9 or something. So, and then, yeah, René put me into the wall on the exit of turn 1, completely damaged both of our cars. I was able to continue somewhat, and yeah, and after the safety car restart, it was chaos. So just hope Gary's okay. My team tells me he is, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit chaotic at the moment.
Absolutely, it's a jungle out there, that's for sure. What is it like for a driver? I mean, you've got the start, you've got to hang around, wait, hope that all the cars are going to be repaired soon and everything. What is that like to get psyched again for the race then?
I don't know, a little cold at the moment, to be honest, because you're all kind of sweaty from the race, and now you're out of the car standing around. So I'm going to get back in. I think it's like 8 minutes until it starts again. See if we can score points.
Well, best of luck for that, and we just got the info that both drivers are okay, so that is good, I guess, and back to you.
Yes, thank you, Verena. Yes, we've just had the same info that both drivers are okay. Now, it's going to be behind the safety car, but it's not going to be a side-by-side restart to the race. We are being told as well. That's the information we have on our information screen here in our commentary position. As crash helmets go back on, and we perhaps get towards a restart of this race. The clock was stopped at 25.04. It's not to say that we'll get 25 minutes of racing. The clock could be reset. We have no information on that at the moment, but their confirmation on the screen, safety car no, Indianapolis-style restart, so the cars will not be side by side as Lucas Auer's crash helmet goes on. Just behind him there is Thomas from Hankook Tires.
So, public is delighted for the restart.
Yes, of course.
We are also delighted. We want to see more racing like we've seen before, but no crashes, please.
No, of course not. But it's reassuring that both Mike Rockenfeller and Gary Pafford is being reported by their teams as being okay. The head of the ITR is Mr. Gerhard Berger. He's with Verena now.
Yes, he is. Mr. Berger, now we saw really exciting racing today. Here we've got full house at the Norisring, but then we also saw a pretty heavy crash. So I guess at that point, one thing we can say is definitely the DTM is very safe.
Well, yes, it's great to have such a performance in the chassis, and we know it's very, very safe. And it proved today, very high-speed accident. I think it's 270 Ks when he had his impact. And yes, we have to see if Rockefeller is okay on his leg, but otherwise everything, I think, went as good as it could. But outside of this, I mean, you cannot see better racing than we see today.
Absolutely. And for the restart, what are you expecting? What are you hoping for?
Well, I always hope for action, but let's see if we can finish the race in a good way. I still think it's open, completely open. We don't know who's going to be the leader in the end. And again, for the fans, great show.
Absolutely. Gerd Berger, thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm the chairman of the DTR then, and the ITR organisation which runs the DTM, Mr. Gerhard Berger, talking to Verena, and onboard shots there from René Rast in replay, and Bruno Spengler and Robert Wickens. There were many contacts during the course of the race, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a moment where Bruno Spengler sneaked into the inside of Robert Wickens. You have not Timo Glock. Yeah, when Jamie Green did the double overtaking maneuver into Timo Glock and Tom Blomqvist.
Plenty of bits of debris laying across the track as well. Here, Jamie Green and...
You know, we have again the repetition, the replay of the crash from Gary Paffett into Mike Rockenfeller.
So just to reassure and remind that the information we have from both Mercedes and Audi is that both Gary and Mike are relatively okay, which is the most important thing. And Gary Paffett was involved in plenty of the race action that went before the stop.
So barrier is repaired.
Well done, team. You've done a great job, and very quickly as well. And suitably applauded by the huge number of fans here.
I think 125,000 heard.
Over the course of
the weekend.
Yeah, extraordinary, yeah.
Really good numbers. Yeah, like Scarabera was saying, we cannot have better show.
No, the racing has been phenomenal. DTM is so very exciting, and part of the excitement is the fact that restart at 6:25 p.m. So we are just done
5 minutes.
And we're going to run with 25 minutes of racing at 6:25. So yeah, the one thing again that reinforces how the DTM is so entertaining is because you just cannot look at this race 1 before race 2 and think, oh, race 1 has given us the result of race 2. Far from it. It's completely mixed up. And we see that actually across the free practice sessions, across qualifying, let alone the races. So safety car then, no Indianapolis restart. That basically means that the cars are not going to be side by side.
Exactly, Dave. We're just going to have a classic one, let's say, where fans were used to in the past year. One car behind the other one. And then we will get undergo. Yeah, like you were saying, it's so close. We have BMW, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, it's Audi. It's mixed. All brands are in the top 10. And not only once, various time. So each brand is represented in the top 5, top 4. So we cannot have better racing.
There is the Marco Wittmann car. Marco Wittmann, the current DTM champion, of course. And we are just 3 minutes away from the restart. The information we're hearing from Mercedes, thank you, Sebastian, is that Gary has just got bruising. It's just bruising for Gary Paffett. Once we've had the information from Audi, we will bring that to you as well. So the race fans here who've been treated to, well, a truly remarkable race thus far, with 25 minutes of the race still to come. Leader of the race is Maxime Martin with Lucas Auer P2, Marco Wittmann is P3, Matthias Ekström is P4. And I'll tell you what, when you look at the first even 10 places, Maro Engel, incidentally, is P10. But certainly when you look at the top 5, Martin, Auer, Wittmann, Ekström, Mortara, and bearing in mind how many DRS usages Auer had in the bank, as it were, I don't want to predict a winner, I'm afraid to say.
No, we cannot. It's everything now. Now everything is going to be really close because everyone is starting just behind the other one. So all the time difference we have on the screen are reduced to 0.
You're right.
Let's see now who has more DRS available. So safety car is now on the track. That means we should be in 1.5 minutes undergo.
I'll just refer to my earlier point, Alex, alongside me, that I think Lucas Auer will inevitably have more DRS available to him than Maxime Martin.
Yeah, for sure. He's been leading a lot of time or being in a free spot most of the time of the race. So,
and of course, Maxime Martin will be, you know, whatever DRS he's got, he's not going to be able to use it if he's P1 because there won't be a car within 1 second in front of him. Of course, that then becomes weak when if Lucas Auer does get past him. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't bet against Marco Wittmann. He's going to look very feisty from P3 on the grid. There's the heli shot of the way the grid looks now, and this Norisring circuit here in Nuremberg.
My question is, it's 2 questions. First, did anyone change of tire? Are they allowed to change the tires now as they were on the red flag on the grid? I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so. So Phoenix boss is Ernst Moser from Audi, and he is with Verena now.
Of course, we need to know, is there any information about Rocky, any update how he's doing?
No, at the moment I have no information. He's on the way to the hospital, and our doctor is together with him, and I hope I will have the information before the end of the race, but at the moment still no new information.
Thank you very much, Hans Moser, and let's hope for the best. Thank you, and back to you.
Yes, thanks, Verena. Of course, all our thoughts are with Rocky, who's being attended to by the medical people as we speak, but we did see Mike out of the car and looked relatively unscathed, extraordinarily, after an impact like that. Okay, so cars behind the safety car then.
We have 2 laps of safety car.
Yes.
So we have 2, let's say, formation laps. We just remind we will have no Indianapolis, no side-by-side restart. We just have a normal 1-by-1, 1 line of cars restarting in the next 2 laps. And then we should go underway with the second part of the race. The second exciting part of the race, I would say, Dave.
Wow, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to have to go some to be as exciting as the first part of the race, notwithstanding the awful crash. None of us wants to see that. And certainly all our thoughts with Gary Paffett and Mike Rockenfeller as we get this race resuming. Then the clock has started, so it's going to be 25 minutes of race action. 2 laps behind the safety car then. Maxime Martin will lead, then it will be Lucas Auer, Marco Wittmann, Matthias Ekstrom, Eduardo Mortara, the top 5. That's going into turn 1. How they'll come out of turn 1, not one of us can predict. So, Martin, Auer, Wittmann, Ekstrom, and then Eduardo Mortara. So the cars then on the second of their warming up laps. So the safety car leading the cars around then. The second part of this DTM race. It's race 2 here at the Norisring. It's 2.3-kilometer circuit. Lights off on the safety car. Then the safety car is going to peel off back into the pit lane. It will be the responsibility of Maxime Martin to control the pace of the restart. What Lucas Auer needs to do here, Alex, you're a racing driver. He's got to try and anticipate when Maxime Martin's going to go for it, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the safety car is in already. So now it's going to get really close, really close, really close. So now it's going underway. Now it's full throttle for Maxime Martin. Lucas Auer.
Both of them. I think all 3 of the front runners really anticipated when Maxime Martin was going to go for it.
DRS is still disabled, so no possibility to use DRS. Now goes in the inside. Lucas Auer. Really good. And sticks on the inside.
He was very decisive there, going to the inside. He has the lead of the race now.
Really good braking maneuver.
When DRS is enabled, Maxime Martin will have DRS enabled and available to him. Lucas Auer needs now to build as much of a gap. What it would be ideal is if he can build a second's worth of gap. That would mean that that would prevent Maxime Martin from using DRS. But it's a big ask, isn't it, to build a second in the first lap. So Lucas Auer doing everything he can. Matthias Ekstrom now on the back of Marco Wittmann. A little bit of history between them two in P3 and P4. So there goes Lucas Auer leading the race then. And DRS is enabled now.
Yeah, but let's not forget Lucas Auer was behind Maxime Martin in the previous lap, so now Lucas Auer can still use the DRS. It's now in these laps where Maxime Martin can profit of the DRS. So, but really good braking maneuver from Lucas Auer into the corner. We see also in the back now Nico Müller going the inside line of Luc Duval. Luc Duval getting a better exit, inside line for the Scheller S's. Timo Glock, a spectator of the whole situation. Outside line for both. Timo Glock also tried on the outside of Luc Duval. Well done.
Timo does go through there. We're on board with Timo Glock. The race being led by Lucas Auer. The clock is counting down. We've got 21 minutes and a few seconds remaining in this race.
Looked like everyone got conscious of the crash and we had a really clean restart of the race.
Yeah, I think it was right to have a one-by-one behind the safety car restart then.
Maxime Martin with
he's nearly done it. Look, Lucas Auer is nearly. He's got 8 tenths between himself and Maxime Martin. So Lucas Auer now on the back of Marco Wittmann. That's the battle for P3. The final podium place is between Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekstrom. They are close. Eduardo Mortara is waiting to pounce behind. So too Paul de Resta, Augusto Farfus, Jamie Green, Tom Blomqvist and Maro Engel is P10. Here's our race leader, Lucas Auer. Then it is Maxime Martin. So Eki tries to close in on Marco Wittmann. around that turn. The car's onto the concrete. And here comes Lucas Auer. It was 8 tenths last time. It's 8 tenths this time. He hasn't quite got Maxime Martin out of the DRS window. And there you can see Maxime Martin able to close considerably. Loic Duval right at the back of the pack. Well, just one behind him, of course, of Bruno Spengler, who had to pit for a punctured tyre. Matthias Ekström is currently P4, but is chasing down that car of Marco Wittmann. And just look, Matthias Ekström has got 13 more laps of availability, and Marco Wittmann has only 6 laps of availability, and we have 19.5 minutes of the race duration now. Maxime Martin is getting ever closer to Lucas Auer. It's down to just 4 tenths, the margin between the two of them.
DRS open for Maxime Martin. We'll try now the inside line. Oh, Lucas Auer has to open the steering wheel to not collide.
Well,
that allows Maxime Martin to go in the inside and get back to P1 at the moment.
He does give him racing room, doesn't he? But now Lucas Auer will have the DRS available to him, and Maxime Martin will lose the DRS after the next lap. So,
but what a brilliant move coming. Really was close, but not really close on the brake. So I think it's really braking from Maxime Martin.
And in fairness, good racing room left by Lucas Auer as well. He looked to turn in and realised that that gap was full of the Maxime Martin BMW. So here we can see it again.
It's pretty far away. It was not done till the last moment.
It was king of the late breakers, wasn't it?
Yeah, good move by Lucas Auer, letting the gap to Maxime Martin.
Yes.
Now Maxime Martin putting the hammer down.
And of course, that's what he needs to do, isn't it? Because he wants to try and break that DRS window away from Lucas Auer, who, as you can see, has got much more, many more laps of DRS availability to him than Maxime Martin. But he needs to stay within 1 second, 6 tenths over the last line. If it can stay within 6 tenths, then the DRS, the lap of DRS that you have. So Martin through, then Lucas Auer, then it is Marco Wittmann, Matthias Ekström, Edo Mortara, the top 5. So as they cross the timing line now, what is the margin between Martin and Lucas Auer? 7 tenths. So that means that Lucas Auer is within 1 second of Maxime Martin, therefore has DRS available to him. Marco Wittmann also has DRS, so too does Matthias Ekström. You can see the number of laps of DRS availability they have on the yellow graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. We're on board with Timo Glock now, who is running down there in P12. Just see that yellow car now into the picture. Behind Robert Wickens, who is running in P11. It's 2.3 kilometer Norisring circuit. So the car's absolutely flying around this track. Still 7 tenths between Martin and Lucas Auer. In fact, they're all gapped fairly evenly, isn't it? Because it's exactly 7 tenths from P2 to P3.
Yeah, definitely. It's nothing decided yet. We see also Matthias Ekström gaining a little bit of rhythm now into Marco Wittmann. We see now also on the left of our screen the DRS laps. Loic Duval
At last, this is Loic Duval's mandatory pit stop, and you heard when Verino spoke to Bruno Spengler, you know, effectively Loic wasn't really in the race, was he? But was defending very hard against Bruno Spengler, and Bruno Spengler feels a bit hard done by. Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström is the closest battle then, which is for P3.
Yeah, Loic Duval is coming out of the pit lane, so let's see how everything plays together.
So they all break, and Matthias Ekström all on the back of Marco Wittmann. So they're all going to approach the Loic Duval car, who, let's remind us, is going to be out on cold tyres, so he's going to be slow relative anyway. And of course, he's out in front of the whole pack of cars. We're on board with Jamie Green in car number 53, who's running in P8. And Jamie Green for company has Tom Blomqvist behind him. Ahead of him is Augusto Farfus. And there's Loic Duval, who allows Maxime Martin and Lucas Auer through. And then it's going to be Marco Wittmann, the blue flag being waved vigorously to Loic Duval to allow those faster cars to go through.
Nothing decided yet. Lucas Sauer getting closer again to Maxime Martin, excuse me.
So Matthias Ekstrom on the inside of Loic Duval, who sticks to the outside line to allow Eduardo Mortara through potentially as well. Blue flags being waved. Now, the one that's out of DRS already is Jamie Green, look, who's down there in P8. That will make him very vulnerable potentially to Tom Blomqvist, because Jamie Green, the graphics for Jamie Green have gone red. That means that Jamie Green is out of DRS. So he'll have to do some heavy defending now as Lucas Auer is getting ever closer now to Maxime Martin. Fight is on for the first place in this race. We've got just under 15 minutes of racing remaining. Here comes Lucas Auer on Maxime Martin then. DRS open. Lucas Auer, he will want the inside.
It's not there yet. Maxime Martin covered really well the door. He closed a little bit the door. He said, now you are, but you're not gonna come in. Now everyone lapping now. Loic Duval, oh, some squeeze between Wickens and Glock.
Yes, there was a little bit of contact there.
Position 11.
On board with Timo Glock then, who is down there in P12.
Loic Duval now has to also let the car pass. Blue flag for him. We see now again, see how the gaps are. Oh, DRS open again for Lucas. Yes.
So Lucas now, and again, he's not close enough.
He's not close enough. I think he didn't open DRS this lap. He's maybe waiting, but he has 11 laps to go, so he can pretty much use DRS every lap.
Yes. So Loic Duval and Bruno Spengler goes past the all-green Loic Duval car. We're on board with Jamie Green, who is in P8, and Jamie Green is the driver with no DRS availability at all, which I think does make him vulnerable to Tom Blomqvist behind him. So this time around, Lucas Auer really needs to get onto the back of Maxime Martin. There is Matthias Ekstrom and Marco Wittmann. They're running P3 and P4. Again, I'm not convinced that Lucas Auer is close enough, even with the DRS availability to him. Maxime Martin.
Oh, better first corner for Lucas Auer. You see now Wickens having passed Maro Engel. Maro Engel, also Timo Glock can use the chance. Some power oversteer for Maro.
Back end of the car really sideways, didn't it? Here comes Nico Müller on Maro Engel now. Maro Engel in the number 63 Mercedes-Benz, and Nico Müller in the Audi behind. And there, Timo Glock and the number 63 car of Maro Engel. So it's 3 for P1 at the moment, isn't it, between Martin Auer and Marco Wittmann.
Really equal difference for all three cars. Lucas always braking a little bit later, approaching on the brakes. Maxime Martin a little bit better on the exit. It's Matthias Ekstrom, the one which is losing a little bit the pace on the group. Maro Engel goes on the inside of Nico Müller, side by side. Yeah, he made it. He gets the position back.
So Spengler then to P12. Now Spengler has got no DRS either because his graphic has turned red, so he's out of DRS. And Nico Müller is behind the Maro Engel car, and Loic Duval is now chasing down Nico Müller.
It was a hard race for Nico Müller. He was starting really on the front end.
So Loic Duval, of course,
getting lap.
Yeah, and very, very last in, wasn't he, for
him, yeah. We see Wickens running a little bit wide again. Maro Engel still fighting with Nico Müller.
And all that is going on right at the back, isn't it?
And all the three guys keeping the distance, the same distance.
So Martin and Lucas Auer. Now Matthias Ekstrom is beginning to get just a little bit closer to Marco Wittmann for
DRS
P3.
open. DRS open for Lucas Auer. It's not like you said, it's not that close yet. It's not close enough.
No. To get the full advantage of that DRS, he needs to be really closer, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the DRS is always working, but the closer you are, the better. You have the less drag. Because you have less drag because of the DRS and less drag because the car in front is it's towing you. So he needs to improve a little bit the second, third sector to get close enough to Maxime Martin so he can pull again and maneuver into the first corner.
But where it's very clever driving from Maxime Martin is that he knows where Lucas Auer is going to try, doesn't he?
Of course, it's not many places you can try here.
And he is being supremely strong.
Yeah, for sure, Lucas Auer needs to get a little bit closer and also try to Maxime Martin to force that mistake, that error that can lead to the change of position.
Not sure Maxime Martin is one for making mistakes, to be truthful. So hugs the inside. Lucas Auer tries to get closer. For my money, the battle for P3 is just a little bit closer. Augusto Farfus ahead of Jamie Green. We can see from this high shot then there the Paul de Resta car, which is running in P6. The order is as on the screen left-hand side for you. Martin leading from Lucas Auer, Marco Wittmann, Matthias Ekstrom, Edo Mortara, the top 5 as they go through the turn once again and head towards the timing line. Here comes Martin again. It's Martin's exit from the final turn is superior to Lucas Auer. He's able to get the power down and get the traction out of that corner, and that's where Lucas is failing to be able to capitalize and get close enough.
Yeah, especially the first sector is really strong, Maxime Martin. Now we see Lucas a little bit closer, I think, out of the corner 1. But the lap before, looking at the sector 1 is the best sector for Maxime Martin.
Yes.
And he's allowing to open a gap that even if Lucas is approaching a little bit in sector 2, is not enough to be close.
So Maxime Martin, of course, of those that are fighting for P1, 2, 3 and 4, Martin's got the best tyres.
True, he pitted in lap 7, Lucas Auer pitted in the first lap, so this might also play now towards the end of the race in the hand of Maxime Martin. We will see Robert Wickens fighting with Bruno Spengler.
8 minutes of this race remaining.
See also Timo Glock got past Robert Wickens. And that allows also Bruno Spengler to get closer to Robert Wickens.
On board with Timo Glock as he dived to the inside, going into that turn.
Oh, car number 63 under investigation, infringement of radio communication. That's Maro Engel.
Maro Engel. So confirmation of that under investigation, infringement of radio communication on the screen. And again, Martin just with those slightly fresher tyres and better traction out of that turn, he's able to deny Lucas Auer getting anywhere close enough to be able to try a move. And look at the DRS lap availability. We've got 7 minutes of the race left, 7.75 for the top 3. Matthias Ekstrom is just not quite able to reel in Marco Wittmann either for the P3 position. Of course, once he's reeled him in, he's got to get past him as well. And history of physical overtaking maneuvers between the two of them from earlier in the race.
Yeah, we see that the lap times are so equal. Now both Maxime Martin and Lucas Auer are doing PB, personal best in second sector, 14.5. The gap is always 0.5 seconds, 0.6 seconds. We see now the message that that in radio infringement from Martin.
There's a mistake from Martin. He ran just a bit wide. That allowed Lucas Auer to get a little bit closer. Apologies to you, you were talking, but he did run just a bit wider, but he's able to save it. Bruno Spengler.
Yeah, we see now Maxime Martin lost 2/10 on the first sector, so this might be now the difference, 0.2 seconds,
yeah, but again,
4 seconds to Lucas Auer. So let's see now if Lucas Auer get that chance to use the DRS on the start-finish line. Oh, Lucas Auer really close to the wall. Trying to use every meter, every inch to get past Maxime Martin, not close enough. No DRS for Lucas.
If anything, Marco Wittmann is getting closer to Lucas Auer and Matthias Ekstrom to Marco Wittmann. So, of course, what Lucas Auer really wants is a mistake from Maxime Martin, and for him to be able to take advantage of that. But at the moment, I just don't see it coming, although around the turn just a few moments ago, felt that Maxime Martin ran wide, but again, Lucas Auer wasn't close enough to be able to capitalize on that perhaps marginal error.
You have 5 minutes to go, around 5 to 6 laps.
Yeah. So there, our race leader, Maxime Martin. There is P2, Lucas Auer. P3 is Marco Wittmann, and P4 is Matthias Ekström. And as you said, just look at the gaps between them. So similar, isn't it?
Oh, really close now. Lucas Auer on the brake. Maxime Martin better exit. Goes earlier on the power. We'll see now if Lucas Auer can chip some tenths away in the second sector to get closer and closer to Maxime Martin to try to dive in the inside in that first corner, that grounded corner.
And you start the overtake setup, don't you?
Personal best sector for Lucas Auer in sector 1, 1/10 quicker than Maxime Martin. He lost 2/10 now in sector 2. And you see, as soon as you lose that aerodynamic of the car, the tires need to play a role. But if your tires are pretty old, like Lucas Auer has, he has all the race on his back. They are not there. You cannot use this extra thing. This I think where Lucas Auer is struggling so much to get so close to get closer to Maxime Martin.
And what he doesn't want to do, of course, is make himself very, very vulnerable to Marco Wittmann, because P2 finish is going to be better than P3, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Or effectively, potentially, rather, P4.
Yeah, Marco Wittmann has not, let's say, not a lot to lose. He goes more for podium position, and Lucas is more thinking for sure on the points.
Yes, of course.
He needs to get some bang of point home.
But Marco Wittmann can't get close enough to Lucas Auer either to push Lucas Auer. So, and this is the point that I'm making. The one that seems to be able to make a little bit of progress is Matthias Ekström, who is P4 at the moment. So here they come to complete another lap. We're into the final 3.5 minutes of this race. And what a race it has been. Hans-Jürgen Abt then on the pit wall there. Of course, he's urging on his driver, Matthias Ekström, who is P4.
Oh, Lucas Auer is having some power oversteer out of the Grundig hairpin.
That's a consequence of tyre degradation, isn't it?
Of course.
Jens Marquardt then from BMW. You can see his driver, Marco Wittmann, leading this race from Lucas Auer, P2. Maxime Martin leading this race. Lucas Auer, P2. Marco Wittmann is P3. Then it's Matthias Ekström, P4. Edo Mortara is another one that's just not really been able to get enough speed to join this group. So 2.5 minutes of this DTM race, which was punctuated by a race stoppage earlier on. The crash which involved Gary Paffett and Mike Rockenfeller. Latest information we have is that Gary's suffering from bruising, and we think Mike Rockenfeller is okay as well. We saw them both out of the cars. But let's focus on the final 2 minutes of this race then. Martin, Auer. Then it's Wittmann, then it is Matthias Ekström. Do you know what, Alex? I don't see this changing. I really don't see this changing. I think Martin has got the measure of it. I think Lucas Auer has got absolutely nothing to throw at that BMW ahead.
Position as pretty fixed. Can be now a mistake of one of the driver that can lead it to change of position, but it looks that they are pretty solid in their positions, pretty solid in the rhythm.
Yep.
No major difference, no situations. Can be some locking tires, someone running wide. I agree with you that we see the positions pretty solid. Solid rhythm of Maxime Martin, keeping his distance. Lucas Auer was also keeping his distance with Marco Wittmann, respectively to Matthias Ekström.
Don't see it changing, really I don't. 7/10 the margin between Martin and Lucas Auer. It's another 7/10 between Auer and Wittmann.
Oh, look at this! We're waiting for a mistake. Drift on the entry of the last corner for Lucas Auer, which lets Maxime Martin get closer than ever to him. So open DRS to defend for Lucas, open the DRS to attack for Marco Wittmann. Will he try to dive into the inside in the first corner?
Well,
no, tries on the outside, but those tires of Lucas Auer are not in the best moment. Try the switchback, maybe better traction for Marco Wittmann.
Well, Lucas Auer doing everything he can to defend this P2 position. That mistake has allowed Marco Wittmann to get within fighting distance. He's got this lap and another one to try and hold on to this. What's left of this lap and the next one.
See
Here
now,
it
look,
is.
the braking, drifting.
The car is sliding, isn't it? Completely sliding. So Lucas Auer now is very, very vulnerable to Marco Wittmann.
But that also allowed Matthias Ekström to get quite close to Marco Wittmann.
It all plays into the hands of Maxime Martin, who's able to escape up the road.
And of course now Lucas Auer doesn't have the DRS anymore to defend because he lost his gap to Maxime Martin. So defending now on the inside. Oh, too wide. Marco Wittmann get the inside line, making better traction. So now look, maybe he will try to stick on the outside into entry of the Schiller S.
Lucas has got to be absolutely committed to this. Marco Wittmann has got to be as equally committed, but Lucas Auer just manages to close the door. There's just this lap plus one more to hold on. Look, as they look on the pit wall, and here comes Matthias Ekström on Marco Wittmann. This plays into the hands of Lucas Auer. And Eduardo Mortara's trying to buy into this battle as well. So Eki gets past Marco Wittmann. And this is the last lap now.
So DRS opened for Marco Wittmann, not for Matthias. Matthias has no DRS available. So Matthias defending on the inside. Marco stay on the outside, locking some tires for Marco Wittmann.
Here comes Matthias Ekström trying to wrestle away P2 position from Lucas Auer. Lucas Auer can breathe a sigh of relief. Martin is up the road in the lead, but the fight is on. Matthias Ekström's car slides. He's got Marco Wittmann right behind him. Lucas Auer seems to have escaped scot-free. Jens Marquardt from BMW looks on. What can Marco Wittmann do? Edo Mortara is there as well. Here comes Marco Wittmann. There's a touch between them.
Ekström, we'll see Mortara will take advantage.
Edo Mortara could end up...
Mortara.
Three abreast.
I think it's for Mortara. Mortara get it. Mortara get it in the last second.
What a finish to a race.
Best race of the season.
My goodness me.
We could not ask for a better race. Oh my God, and you said the positions were solid.
So did you. Wow. Martin, Auer, Mortara. And look at Hans-Jürgen Abt. He is pretty angry about that, isn't he?
Not happy faces.
I'll tell you what, when it comes to entertaining racing,
you need to watch DTM.
Look at this.
Try, of course, Marco Wittmann tried his last possibility in Mortara, just keep his racing line and get a better traction. It's on the inside line now.
It's often the best place to be, isn't it?
Look, three side by side.
Absolutely three abreast.
Yeah, look how close was Eki. Eki was, you look at the screen, 0-0-0.
Look.
Photo finish.
Oh,
yeah, not a...
cross. Mr. Abt was. Jens Marquardt from BMW, we've seen his driver victorious.
Congratulations, Maxime Martin, victory, fantastic, and almost also a third place podium, but Wittmann lost it in the very last seconds. I mean, congratulations, but honestly, how exciting was this race?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's really important that Gary and Rocky are okay, and I think reasonably okay they are. So yeah, super happy for Maxime, fantastic racer. What an exciting race. 5 BMWs in the top 10, scored points with them. Super event, super weekend for BMW, and yeah, super happy.
All right, well, congratulations, enjoy, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Verena. Wow, what an extraordinary finish. Maxime Martin takes the win from Lucas Auer. Eduardo Mortara taking P3. The incident between car number 5 and car number 11 is under investigation. No surprise there, because Eki and Wittmann did have a touch, didn't they? And there was a bit of history from the first part of the race, but Eki was P4, Marco Wittmann was P5, then it was De Resta, Farfus, Green, Blomqvist, Glock, Wickens, then it was Spengler, Muller, and then it was Maro Engel that finished P14. My goodness me. 3 abreast for P2. P3, Mortara, Ekström, Wittmann.
Would really like to see that photo finish, because I think it will pass in it's the story of the DTM. Now we see our race winner, Maxime Martin. Brilliant job. Good defense from Lucas Auer at the first part of the restart, after this restart of the race.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Unbelievable. What a race.
Yes, you're right. And Maxime Martin closes the door of his car. And spectators by their thousands. Well, I'll tell you what, they have seen a utterly phenomenal race, Alex.
We couldn't ask for any better. Just so sorry for Gary Peffert and Mike Rockenfeller.
Yes, of course, and we wish them well.
And this second place yesterday, Lucas Auer was lost quite a lot of pace in the championship. We see now the points he go back in the fight. So we have now Matthias Ekström with 89 points leading the championship, and Lucas Auer 2 points behind, 87. And we did so close, so close.
Absolutely amazing. There is Lucas Auer then. An extraordinary finish to an extraordinary race. And here in replay then. So there was Marco Wittmann, just a touch on Matthias Ekström. The back end of the Ekström car getting very, very wide. And Marco Wittmann, you know, he's going to be vulnerable perhaps to a penalty there because there was a touch. Here it is, Alex Torre. Look, the back end of car. I mean, Matthias Ekström has got to use opposite lock to try and control the car following the hit. And of course, as I said, there was history earlier on.
Yeah, but nevertheless, even if Marco Wittmann gets a penalty now, will not change anything. Mortara will still be P3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Will have an
but you've got to think about the point situation, haven't you? So he's getting a black and white flag. That's all he's going to get. Okay.
It's racing at its best.
It is racing at its best.
We see now this lateral situation, photo finish for all the 3 cars. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Not only
Look at this. 3 cars abreast for P3.
And the 3 manufacturers. This is a perfect picture for the DTM to put in the wall. Mercedes, BMW, Audi. But like you said, the cars will not only on the qualifying, they are between thousands. Also in the race, they are split by thousands of seconds.
Absolutely amazing. And there
could not be any better end of the weekend.
I don't know what to say about that. It was an extraordinary race. So in the Drivers' Championship, Matthias Ekström by 2 points leads over Lucas Auer. Maxime Martin is P3 on 78 points. Jamie Green P4 on 75. So René Rast, of course, the big loser this weekend, but Matthias Ekström still at the top of the points chart in the Drivers' Championship. Podium to come, of course, and we will see Martin, Auer and Mortara up there on the podium. So absolutely amazing stuff. And drivers making their way up to the podium now. Lucas Auer there. Taking on some water, and deservedly so.
So we go now to Verena, who is with our second place driver, Lucas Auer.
Lucas, congratulations. What a fight, what a race. Second place. In restart, you were P2, then you overtook Martin once, but then you lost it again. But how does it feel, second place in this fantastic, crazy race?
It was mega crazy. I'm really exhausted, actually. In the last 10 laps, I got such a bad cramp. And I was nearly crying in the car, so I was really happy to finish like that, and all good now.
Right, you were also having a bit of problems with the tires, was it?
No, it was my feet. I couldn't brake anymore. Yeah, I didn't know anymore how to brake. Even I started once to brake right foot, and it was a disaster.
Oh dear, but second place, fantastic. So congratulations and enjoy the feeling on the podium. Thank you very much. Back to you. I'm going to try to grab the other drivers in just a bit.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, exactly what Lucas said. It's a feeling I also had in the car, experience I had. When you had a cramp, you cannot brake, and we brake with the left foot. We are used to brake with the left foot. I also had to say, I tried what Lucas Auer did, try with the right, but once you are used to brake with the left foot, it's really, really hard to have a feeling to brake with the right foot. And now we know also why Lucas Auer did a small mistake that allowed Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström get close to them and put him in a position where he was struggling to defend that second position. So it perhaps was not the tires that we were predicting as we were watching the race. When we see now Dario Mortara delighted also by the third position in the last second, I would say, of the race, last corner. We could not ask for a better race.
could even have been 1 to 3. I mean, if you look at this race.
See now the BMW
The result is amazing.
enjoying some ice cream after super weekend for them.
Sorry?
The three cars finished the race and a lot of crashes.
Nice air shot we have from all the 3 cars, the 2 pink cars and the car of the BMW with Maxime Martin. All the public can now come close finally down onto the racetrack, touch that tarmac. I was saying, Dave, so we have now Verena down with Maxime Martin.
Yes, congratulations, Maxime. What a fantastic race. Victory. You've got to be absolutely happy because it was such a crazy race.
Yeah, crazy race, definitely. But starting from P7, winning the race is just amazing. I had a really good start. Beginning of the race was awesome, and yeah, at the end also. So perfect pit stop from the team. P3 in Budapest, P2 yesterday, P1 today. So 3 podiums in a row, 3, 2, 1. It's just amazing.
And you're the 3rd in the championship. That's great too.
Amazing. I didn't know. Fantastic.
All right, well, off you go onto the podium. Congratulations to a very, very happy Maxime Martin.
Well, you've just made his day, Verena. You've told him where he is in the championship, and he's delighted about that. As he said, he didn't know. Oh, my goodness me. And cramp for Lucas Auer. I mean, really. Talk about drama, Alex. Everything has been thrown at this race.
Yes, like I was saying before. Now we see Maxime Martin enjoying his maiden win. First win of the season for him. I also had a cramp when I was racing, like exactly how you feel. You also try to break right foot, but you don't have, as a driver, when you have the feeling with the left foot, you don't have it.
So there we have the drivers making their way up onto the podium then, and there is Eduardo Mortara. He didn't think he was going to be P3, did he?
No,
I mean, to be
any
fair.
moment. It was like I was saying, the last corner, last second, he got away with it. Unbelievable race.
Okay, it's time for the national anthem for Maxime Martin. So the anthem plays out for Maxime Martin then on the top step of the podium. In the end, 2.9 seconds. Mr. Stefan Kobel then makes the trophy presentation to Maxime Martin. He won. Dr. Clemens Gzell then makes the trophy presentation to the team. But Mampay, got that. Lucas Dow gets his trophy from the free skier then, making the trophy presentation to Lucas Auer. And Harold Groves making the trophy presentation to Eduardo Mortara. They all pose together for the photographs on the top step of the podium. And then, with all the photos done and dusted, everyone getting absolutely covered. So, celebrations up there, but of course, they all take it on board. Ollie Sittler there, who's the presenter up there on the...
Oh.
Well, Edo Mortara then, it was P3 for him. Whatever must he think, Verena?
Well, I'm going to find out. Edo, what a fantastic race for you. I mean, starting from P13, but then the restart in the last 16, even further back. And then in the last seconds, you were causing for a lot of nervousness from everybody. You made it so exciting in the last seconds, and third place must feel almost like victory for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you start from P16, I mean, for sure, you know, you're not expecting to finish on the podium. Saying this, I mean, you know, it's Norisring, and you never know what to expect here. And I mean, I could see that yesterday I had good race pace. Unfortunately for us, you know, the qualifyings at the moment are not really working perfect. But normally in the race we're always like really quick. And I could see that the guys in front were fighting really hard, and I was just waiting for my moment. I could see what was happening actually in the last corner. Prepared it very nicely and had a good timing, so perfect.
And do you feel like you now really arrived with Mercedes-Benz?
To be honest with you, not. We still need to work quite a lot, but I mean, for sure, you know, this podium will give us like a lot of confidence. It will boost us a little bit, and I think that it was like very good to finish on the podium. Now we're going to work even harder, and we're going to find the solutions for sure.
All right, thank you very much, Edo, and back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Verena. Interesting there, the honesty from Edo. He says, yeah, it's not quite there yet. I mean, he's taken a P3 today as we see the celebrations for Maxime Martin then, who did a great job, didn't he? P1, some 2.9 seconds ahead of Lucas Howe, and then Edo Mortara taking that P3 place. DTM, absolutely extraordinary. This place is extraordinary as well. The Norisring, where it never fails to deliver entertainment, that's for sure. There's Uli Fritz. And let's go back down to Verena right now.
So thank you so much to the commentators, and what a spectacular race today. What a fantastic race weekend here at the Norisring. We know Norisring gets crazy, but that it gets this crazy, well, you never know. In the DTM, anything is possible, and we're hoping for just an exciting race weekend in 3 weeks in Moscow. So we hope you're going to be there as well. See you then, and hear the highlights of the weekend, of the day, and enjoy.
Go!